So today I'm sharing a very quick, easy to do cocoa station with a DIY caddy that I made from a box at the thrift store. I've included instructions for how to build one if you can't find one. I've also included some quick decorating ideas and some free labels for toppings like, the typical marshmallows, a jar for your hot chocolate, chocolate chips, caramel toppings, all those types of things that I could think of to place on the jars. And I'll have that linked in the description. I really hope you like this video. Happy crafting. See you soon.
Here's the before picture of my coffee station area. I'm going to change it into a cocoa station for the holidays. The first tutorial you're going to see is me taking a thrifted crate and making it into a coffee crate. So I wanted to put some little legs on the bottom of a box to make a hot chocolate caddy. So I found some Jenga blocks at Dollar Tree, and I grabbed some Fusion paint, a brush, and some E6000, and I'm going to begin by just gluing the Jenga blocks together first and letting them dry. I made 4 of them, so I needed a total of 8 Jenga blocks. Once they were all dry, I made sure everything was smooth and even on as possible on all of them, just by hand. Once they were dry, I attached them, each one of them, to one of the corners of the bottom of the box. Making sure it was the side that the opening would face towards me. Then I went ahead and filled just the top using some dry decks and sanded it with just a Dollar Tree sanding block. And I only did it on the top. I didn't worry about the backs or the undersides because nobody's going to see it. Once it was all sanded, I began painting it. I ended up putting 3 coats of the Fusion mineral paint on the bare wood. I started with did the inside 3 coats first, let it dry, and then I went out and did the 3 coats on the outside. Doesn't take very long, but you do have to be patient, allowing some time for drying. While painting it, I kind of thought, it'd be very easy to build one of these if you don't happen to find a box. It's just going to be, I think, 7 strips of wood 15 inches long attached to 2 end pieces that are 4 inches long, 4 inches square. My gingerbread ornaments came in a set of 2, and I wasn't impressed with all the red on them, so I decided to paint out the snowflakes and the hat and one of the little buttons to get rid of some of the red that was showing. So I painted out the snowman in white, and then I grabbed some pink to go ahead and do the hat and the bow tie. And it was pretty easy to do, actually, but I used a tiny little brush to do the very edges and cut it in as much as possible. The second coat, I did a second coat afterwards, and then once I was done the second coat, I just used a wet piece of cotton batting, and I wiped out any little pieces that had maybe gotten on it. The final thing I did was I took the felt off of the back. Once it was all painted, I let it dry, and then I painted her with some, I think she looks cute there. If you check, she's got quite a bit of sparkles on her, so except for the pink parts I added, of course. So afterwards I took some Mod Podge and I just painted the pink areas and gave it a dusting of some very, very fine, high quality sparkles. Dusted off the excess, cleaned up my mess, and that was all that I did for the little gingerbread that's going on the front of the hot chocolate caddy. I wanted a real simple way to add the gingerbread to the front of the caddy, so I just used some baker's twine, wrapped it around and secured it with glue, and then I used some more twine, pulled it through that little hole in the top of the ornament using some Dollar Tree florist wire. Be careful if you're doing that, because those little hooks can be rather weak. They're not necessarily held in real well. And then once I got it in there, I pulled it through, tied a ribbon, and then glued it to the to the twine that had been wrapped around. I also, when I was decorating it, I also added some fairy lights into the back of the box. I just made it even on both sides so that the twine would be centered. Tied it in a very simple bow. Because of where we live, I was unable to find any sort of gingerbread themed mugs near our home. So instead I just went ahead and I bought some Dollar Tree white mugs and made these simple gingerbread mugs using my Cricut and a very simple one color cut file using vinyl. Okay, so I'll put the link in the description for the cut file. And I just went ahead and I cut it out and put it on transfer paper. Now right here you see me, I'm taking the back off the transfer paper and I'm going to place it on my mug. Like I said, I chose this one because it's a simple cut. There's only one cut file. It didn't take very long to do at all. It was really fast. I'm going to do it there, and then you're going to see me make scrape it down really good to hold it. The only parts of this when lifting it up that I had to all be concerned about is the corners where those little feet are. There's just a littlest tiniest piece of the vinyl holding on the corner. See right there, just right in the corner there? That's what holds it together more for placement. I really didn't want to rip that. It's on the feet and on the hands. So I was careful for those areas after weeding it out, but the rest of it was really super easy. Now I also made these little squiggly lines to go around the bottom. I measured the circumference of the mug going from the handle to the handle. Started it at one end, and I wasn't too concerned about it fitting exactly together at the end, but it did actually. But what you can do is if yours doesn't, you'd be surprised at how much you can stretch it around if you need to. I just pulled mine as tight as possible, went all the way around the mug. And then right at the end, I fit the two ends together as best that I could. Carefully peeled off the transfer tape. And she's good, and it's good to go. I made 3 of them to place in the caddy. For the final details, I created some labels, added them to some mason jars in various topics, as you can see there. Lined them up with some simple greenery and some fairy lights in behind the back, and that was all there was to it.